Hey friend, welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm going to be telling you why the Fuji XT30 might be the best beginner's videography camera. So let's dive right in. Before we get going though, I want to make sure you know there are timestamps in the comment below so that you can skip around, find whatever's most helpful. If you're watching the XT3 review that I made and now coming to watch this one, they might get a little repetitive. So skip around, do what you need to do to find the helpful thing. If this is your first time watching the XT30 review and you haven't seen the XT3 review, then you'll find all of this helpful more than likely. So why try the XT30 in the first place? For me, it's because everywhere I travel, I always want to have a backup camera, or I need a backup camera. So shooting weddings, I never want to be left without a camera on the wedding day if something were to happen. And sometimes I just need a camera for my second shooter, or I need a camera for a second angle, whatever it may be. And I have the XT3 right now, and the XT30 fit in really well right next to that camera. So the tiny size for travel, the incredible capable video features, and the continuity with the XT3 was my reason for giving it a shot. But everything I list today might be worthy reasons for you to give it a try too. Let's dive right into the list of things that I love. First is the value. For $899 for the body, they have packed in a ton of features. I mean, a ton of features. This can be a low-level professional video camera if you need it to be. And for someone who wants a backup camera like me, this is amazing for that value, for the price. And if you're looking for a camera, but you can't afford anything else, this camera is a worthy camera to be your A cam if you don't have money for something better right now. So the value at the price is just unbeatable in my opinion. And that's the first thing that I love. The second is the color. Fuji is known for their colors. I talked about the color in the XT3 video. I'm the 100th person, the millionth person talking about Fuji colors, but it's not withheld from the XT30. They did an excellent job once again with their colors. All of the film simulations are in here, even F-Log, and all of it looks gorgeous. Almost all of it, not the F-Log, looks gorgeous straight out of camera, and I can highly recommend the Fuji colors. Next is the autofocus. This is Fuji's newest camera, I believe, and has gotten the newest processor and the newest autofocus system, and you can tell. The autofocus is nearly flawless in almost every situation. Low light, complex face detect situations, you name it, and this camera can keep up. It does an incredible job, especially with the native kit lens, which we'll come back to later. But all in all, the autofocus is amazing. This next one is a point that I would never think would be in a $900 camera review, but this has 10-bit 422 output. That's right, over HDMI, the tiny little HDMI that is hidden over here on this tiny side door can output 10-bit 422. So with my Ninja 5, I've been playing with that, and I'll put in some test footage, but I have been blown away just by the fact that it can do it, let alone how good the footage looks. So I'll let you see that for yourself and you decide, but that amazes me that they can put that feature into this camera. Next is the usability and the touch functions. This camera is tiny, there's not a lot of real estate for buttons. So they made the touch screen function as a set of buttons in itself almost. So you can swipe to get different settings available on the screen. And that to me is huge because I want everything to be within a quick reach or a swipe or a one button press. As a quick run and gun shooter, I just really need that. And so for this camera to have those swipe features and for them to have the buttons being as customizable as they are and the top deck dials being as quick as they are, it's just a great camera in terms of usability. This one is going to make its way onto the pros and the cons list, and that is the size. As you can tell, it is not much bigger than my hand. It is so small. And I like this and I don't like it. I'm gonna talk more about why I don't like it later, but right now, why I do like it is because I use an ONA bag and it can seriously just fit right into the top and be zipped up, and I would be traveling right away. It's so helpful to have something so convenient in size. This last one might seem silly, but it's that the camera is fun to use and everything works. I can't tell you how frustrating it is for me when I get into a camera and I realize that when I enable one setting, the other setting doesn't work, or whatever the limitations may be, everything on this camera just works. If you want it to work a certain way, it probably does. There's no strange limitations in one mode compared to another or anything like that. When you pick up the camera, it's intuitive. Everything just functions like it should, and you get the image that you want out of it. And it's just fun to use with the manual dials on the top deck and the focus lever, you name it, it's fun to use. People talk about that with Fuji all the time. I really like using this camera. But there are things that I don't love about it. Let's dive into those, with the overheating being first. Yeah, you're gonna have to expect that with a camera this small. I mean, the body is tiny. Again, it's like the size of my hand. So they're putting 4K into this camera, so I don't expect that it's going to be incredible when it comes to heat dispersion. It overheats. That's a fact of life. The X-T3 does not, and this one does. But they've done a decent job of trying to combat that. But that's the next thing on the list of things I don't love, is the limitations. So the video record limitations, I think you can only do 10 minutes in 4K 24. And I don't know about the others because I don't shoot many other modes on this camera. But the 4K 24 being limited to 10 minutes is a bummer, but the heat that's going to be building inside of this camera, you just have to live with those limits. So yeah, I have had it overheat on me on a wedding day before. It was actually overheating on my wife while she was second shooting for me, and we were going indoor and outdoor in California, and it was pretty hot, but I don't think that it should have overheated. We changed the battery and it was back on, and it didn't overheat again the rest of the day, even for the outdoor ceremony. So I don't know what happened there, but it has happened. The next one is kind of a unique problem, and that is that the XH1 is currently almost the same price as this camera. So I put that on the cons list because if you're someone who's looking for a bigger camera, who wants video-centric features and IBIS really matters to you, then the XH1 might be better value than this camera. So that's a silly one, but the XH1 being a similar price is kind of a negative. But if you're looking for the travel, the compact size, the newest sensor and everything, then this is still a great camera. But it is a bummer that the XH1 is now, I think, only $100 more expensive on B&H. That does connect me to my next point though, which is IBIS. This camera, just like the X-T3, does not have IBIS, so if you are looking for that, then this camera will not be the camera for you. Though if you're using the kit lens that I highly recommend, you will have OIS inside of the lens, and I think that it's pretty noteworthy. It is as good as the IBIS inside of the Sony cameras that I've used, and I've not used the GH5, which has pretty amazing IBIS, I've been told, so I can't say that for sure, but it is a bummer that the XT30 does not have IBIS. Okay, these last ones I'm gonna try and run through really quick. I'm even just gonna look at my notes. The fact that the app is still terrible from Fuji, I really want them to give the app some attention. That is what it is. Third-party lenses, there's just not much out there, unfortunately. I think third-party lenses will come to the Fuji X system, as they start to compete more and more with the other big manufacturers. But right now there's just not that many options. Then the battery life, it's not very good. You know, yeah, pretty much any con on this list is all because of the size. You can't have this size without these cons. So the battery life suffers from the size. The ergonomics suffer from the size. I did buy the Mikey XT20 grip, which is the same size as the XT30 grip, and it's pretty great. It does help. It definitely does help, but it's still, for my big hands, it's a tiny, tiny camera, and I don't want to fight against the small size by adding a battery grip or anything like that. So I just live with the bad ergonomics, and with the bad ergonomics is the Q button here. It's terrible. The placement is just so bad. I press it all the time on accident because I'm just like holding here, or I drop my hand and I press the button. I don't know why they put it right there, but they did, and it's just not a good placement. The no dual card slots and no dual recording is a bummer, but again, with the size, you just have to live with that. So I think that's it. Oh, I guess the low light. I would say the low light is okay. It's not great. I'll put in some test footage here of that, but I wouldn't probably use it as a run and gun wedding camera by itself, meaning you could add lighting, or you could use another camera when the sun goes down, when it starts to get dark outside, or when the lights go down inside the venue. It's not a great low light camera. It can compete, I think. In my experience, if I remember right, I'm comfortable using it probably up to 6400, just up to that. Even 6400 may not be as clean as I would like it to be, but yeah, it's, you know, again, at the size, I'm not complaining too much about that. So yeah. All right, that's it for me in this video. I hope that you found it helpful. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'm continuing to practice and use the XT30 and find out what it's best for, who it's best for. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, comment below, subscribe, like this video. It would really help me. I'd like to make more videos in the future. If you have any ideas for me, also comment those below. I've been thinking about an XT3 setup video, an XT30 setup video. Right now, coming down the pipe, I've got a Ninja 5 video, an XT3 rig video. So if you've thought of anything else, please feel free to let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.